3 minutes into the retrospective, the tension just cracked. Who approved this? The words weren't shouted, but the tone wasn't curious either. It was sharp, loaded. One person lowered their eyes while another shifted their chair slightly back, and a third began twiddling their laptop just to avoid eye contact. Psychological safety had left the room in an instant. What could have been a conversation about what went wrong became a room full of silent defense mechanisms. That meeting didn't solve the issue, it created a new one, a trust fracture. And that kind of fracture happens in teams every day. We say we want psychological safety. We say we want and we value transparency. Yet the moment that something goes off plan, the old instincts kick in. Blame, control, assumption. We turn meetings into minefields. And the cost isn't just one bad interaction, it's the slow decay of the very thing Agile depends on, trust. Because without trust, we don't get honest retros, we don't get early warnings, we don't get collaboration, we get compliance. That's why the practice of assuming positive intent isn't just a polite mindset, it's a cultural posture, foundational layer of human infrastructure that allows everything else in Agile to work. Let's be clear. Assuming positive intent doesn't mean ignoring red flags. It doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior. It means starting with curiosity instead of suspicion and accusation. It means interpreting actions through the lens of what might I not understand yet, instead of who messed up. It means asking better questions like, why would a smart, capable person make that choice? What pressure might they be under? Or what information might they have that I don't? It's easy to be generous when things go smoothly. The real test is when things go sideways. That's when we discover whether our culture leads to with fear or with maturity. Because that's what's really all about. It's emotional maturity. Assuming positive intent demands that we interrupt the rapid reflexes of judgment, that we slow down the history, all of that history and all of the past and our current mental stories, that we're telling ourselves just long enough to make space for the other possibilities. And in a fast moving agile environment, especially one augmented by AI tools, those reflexes are moving faster than ever. Think about it. An anomaly shows up in the data. System flags a risk. The team deviates from the plan, and AI helps us surface all of these issues much faster than ever before. And it also creates more moments for misinterpretation. We get feedback loops that move at machine speed. If we don't build emotional intelligence into those loops, we start reinforcing suspicion automatically and at machine speed. Here's how that plays out. Let's think about a delivery that gets delayed. We assume laziness, not misalignment. Or a teammate misses a deadline, and we assume poor prioritization, not that they're overcommitted. And someone pushes back in a meeting, we assume defiance, not that they care. None of those interpretations help us move forward. They help us feel right, they help us feel in control, and they destroy trust in the process. That's why Agile needs the practice of assuming positive intent baked into its culture, not as a slogan, but as a non negotiable foundational practice. Let's take a simple example. In a retrospective, someone says, we didn't have enough support from leadership. Now, without positive intent, that sounds like blame. It sounds like an attack. Now, if instead we assume positive intent, it becomes, well, maybe they were managing other priorities and they couldn't really step in and help us. Or maybe we didn't really communicate the impact clearly enough in order to call their attention that we needed help. That shift changes what happens next. Instead of defensiveness, we dialogue. Instead of silence, we learn from the experience. And that's the reward. When you shift from suspicion to curiosity, you reclaim all of the energy that usually gets wasted on office politics. Carefully worded emails, back channel venting, pre meeting strategizing, all of that energy, you get it all back. And you can put it towards building, adapting, improving, and actually enjoying the work that you're doing. That's especially critical in AI-enabled environments. As all of those decision cycles that we go through, they get shorter and shorter, and information flows multiply. The opportunity for misunderstanding in that kind of environment increases exponentially. And the cost of misreading someone's intent, it's no longer just a bruised relationship. It's lost velocity, reduced innovation, and ethical blind spots that get reinforced instead of challenged. We need cultures where people speak up early, where disagreement is welcome, where honesty is safe. That only happens when the baseline assumption is trust, not threat, judgment, accusation. So the next time something doesn't go as expected, pause. Instead of hunting for someone to blame, ask what made this decision seem like the best option at the time? Or perhaps there was a context that I'm missing in the situation. Or maybe we need to be thinking of how we can keep our working relationship stronger because that's more important while still addressing the breakdown. Those are important questions, not just because they create better conversations, but because they create better cultures and cultures that can flex under pressure instead of increasing the pressure. The ones that are flexible, are the ones that avoid breaking. Cultures that share hard truths early instead of hiding them. Cultures that push forward with courage instead of holding us back in fear. And when we adopt this practice of assuming positive intent, when that becomes the norm, that's when real change happens. People stop bracing for blame. They start learning into how the conversations can help them. Conversations then become move away from being something that we avoid, something that we fear, something we be protected from, to something that we look forward to because we know good things will happen, or at least that the opportunity for that to happen will be there. And people stop managing appearances and managing the outcome, which is what ultimately is the most important. So I'll leave you with this to reflect on. What would your team feel like if everyone assumed positive intent, especially in the hard moments? How much faster would you adapt? How many problems would surface earlier? And how much trust would be preserved? Think about the time, energy, and money that you would stop wasting. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear where this is showing up for you and where it's missing. And if you'd like to learn more about the mood elevator I mentioned, click one of these. I'll be happy to tell you all about it.